Where do you live?
Virginia.
Virginia. Okay, I'm going to assume that you own 10 acres of raw land in Texas, and you owe $200 in back taxes. So, Anthony, you're advertising two important things to me. Number one, you have no emotional attachment to that raw land. You're in Virginia, property's in Texas. And number two, you're distressed financially in some weird way because you haven't paid your property taxes. And we don't pay for things, we don't value them in the same way. And as a result, the county treasurer keeps sending you notices saying, Anthony, you don't pay your property taxes. We're going to auction off that property to a tax deed or a tax lien investor. So all I'm going to do is take a look at your 10-acre parcel. I'm going to look at the comparable sales on it for the last 12 to 18 months. I'm going to take the lowest comparable sale. I'm going to divide by 4. And that's going to be what Warren Buffett would call a 300% margin of safety.
You're listening to the Rich State of Mind Show, the podcast made to make you the total package in the entrepreneurial world and give you what we call a rich state of mind. If you are here looking to learn about real estate investing, marketing, elevating your business, and developing your mindset to get to the next level, then you are at the right place. Stay tuned and be sure to join our community on richstateofmind.com. Now here's your host, Anthony Ritchie.
Hey, Mark, thanks for taking the time this evening. I think late afternoon for you. You're mountain time, correct?
Mountain time, yeah.
Yeah, cool. Very unique. You're not even affected by daylight savings time. So if you could please tell us a little bit about what you do and a little bit about background about who you are.
Yeah, Anthony, thanks so much for having me. So I'm a professional land investor. I've been investing full-time since 2001. I've done over 6,000 unique transactions.
Okay.
I'm the author of Dirt Rich. Find it on Amazon. And I have a mission. It's a simple mission. I want to help everybody get out of what I call solo economic dependency, which means if they're personally not working, they're not making any money. Think if you have a W-2 job, if you're a freelancer, if you're a lawyer, a doctor, a dentist, right? If we pick on the dentist, if their hands aren't in somebody's mouth, they don't generate any income. And the only way to get out of solo economic dependency is to create enough passive income where it exceeds your fixed expenses. And then you're working because you want to, not because you have to. And I can actually, walk you, Anthony, through exactly my model and how I actually do this and help other people.
And so what made you believe in this concept? Did something happen in your life that you experienced something as to why you do not believe in somebody having only one stream of income?
Well, not necessarily for me. I mean, I remember in 2000, I was a miserable, micromanaged 45-minute commute to work and back investment banker, specializing in mergers and acquisitions. And it got so bad for me, Anthony, I wouldn't get the Sunday blues, anticipating Monday coming around. I'd get the Friday blues, anticipating the weekend going by really fast and having to be back at work on Monday. So, having a really horrible job gave me that burning desire to want to have total freedom to work when I want, where I want, and with whom I want. And, the only way I think to do that is to have that passive income piece so that you can choose.
Awesome. I love that. And it's definitely relatable. I think a lot of people have, maybe I call it the Golden Shackles. I'm in the military, by the way. So like a lot of people kind of call it Golden Shackles when there's kind of something at the end, promised to you at the end of your tenure when it comes to your job. And so that anxiety of, man, if I jump off this cliff or if I quit this job, can I be as successful doing something else? Or can I be happier? Which is what I think most people kind of go for. If you told somebody, hey, you're going to get paid $10,000 less a year, but I guarantee you'll be 10,000 times more happier, then they probably would have picked that occupation. But anyways, so what made you go over to real estate investing and then eventually land on land investing?
Well, my firm hired this guy and he told me as a side hustle, he was buying raw land, pennies on the dollar, and he's flipping them online, and he was making a 300% return on his investment. So Anthony, I'm looking at companies all day long, and a great company, has 15% EBITDA margins or free cash flow. Average company is 10%. And I'm looking at companies all day long, less than 10%. So I don't believe him. So I've got $3,000 saved up for car repairs. I go to New Mexico with him to a tax deed auction. I do exactly what he tells me to do. I buy 10 half-acre parcels, an average of $300 each. I flip them online, and they sell for an average of $1,200 each, 300%. It worked. So I took all that money, went to another auction in Arizona, which is where I live. And again, it's 2000. There's no one in the room. I'm buying up lots and acreage for nothing. I sold all that property, and I made over $90,000 cash. So I go to my wife, who's pregnant, by the way. And I say, hey, I'm going to quit my job and become a full-time land investor. And she's like, absolutely not. So I said, okay. So it took me about 18 months for the land investing income to exceed the investment banking income. And then I quit, and I've been doing it full-time ever since.
So do you feel like you happen to, get exposed to something that wasn't saturated, and then you throughout time, it's been 20, 21 years now. And so now, is it now saturated, or is it still a niche that is not commercialized yet? A lot of people are not in it yet.
Yeah, I mean, my niche is like the least sexy niche of all. So you're not going to go on HGTV or the DIY network and see flip this land. The before pictures raw land, the after pictures raw land. So yeah, I mean, we've got billions of acres of raw land in this country, and there's no big players. There's no private equity groups. There's no hedge funds. You, me, a million people could be in this niche. We're all going to run out of money before we run out of deal flow.
Awesome. That's actually a good problem to have.
Yeah.
And so you talked about in your topics, 5 reasons on why you should be creating passive income while land investments. Why, even though it is probably not the sexiest type of niche with real estate investing, why are, these 5 reasons so strong to get involved in it?
Well, basically, number one is there's nothing physical, right? So what's a piece of raw land? I mean, essentially a piece of paper. So you've got nothing physical. That's number one. You've got nothing to maintain or protect. That's number 2. Number 3, it cash flows like a property that you do have to maintain and you do have to protect. Number 4, there's no renters. There's no headaches. There's no rehabs. There's no renovations. There's no rodents. So essentially, you've got this one-time sale, and you get recurring passive income every single month without having to deal with any headaches and nothing to maintain, nothing to protect. It's the best passive income model. So Anthony, if you want, let me walk you exactly through the model. Is that fair?
Yes, definitely fair.
Okay, so I'm going to send you an actual offer on your property. So let's say the lowest comparable sale is 10 grand. I'm going to send you an offer for $2,500. Now you accept it, because for you, $2,500 is better than nothing. In reality, 3 to 5% of people accept my quote unquote top dollar offer of 25 cents on the dollar. So now that you accept it, I have to go through due diligence or in-depth research. I have to confirm you still own the property. I have to confirm back taxes are only $200. I have to make sure there's been no breaks in the chain of title. I have to make sure there's no liens or encumbrances. So I have this whole property report. I outsource it to my team in the Philippines. I pay about $11. They're connected to an American title company. And they're checking all these things, and they're getting me the plat map and the aerial map and the satellite map and everything I'm going to need for my next buyer. So it's creating my marketing package. So if everything checks out, we close. And now, Anthony, I'm going to sell this property 30 days or less. I'm going to make it cash flow like a rental home. But I have a built-in best buyer. Do you know who it is?
Yeah.
No. I bought it. I own it now. I have it. So who am I going to sell it to?
Oh,
who's the best person to sell the property to?
List.
That's second. Who's the best person?
It's a good question. If it ain't your buyer's list, then back to them.
No, they're not going to buy it back. They sold it to me.
I don't know.
It's the neighbors. I'm going to send out neighbor letters saying, hey, here's your opportunity. Protect your privacy. Protect your views. Know your neighbors. So oftentimes the neighbors buy it. Now, if they pass, I'll go to my buyer's list. Then I'll go to a little website you may have heard of. It's called Craigslist, 10th most trafficked website in the United States. I'll go to another one I know you've heard of. It's called Meta or Facebook.
Okay, I'm about to say,
groups.
Meta, yeah.
Yeah, Marketplace. And then I'll go to the lands. Landmodo.com, landandfarm.com, landsofamerica.com, landflip.com, landhub.com, all these platforms where people buy and sell raw land. But the magic happens in my pricing. So I pay $2,500 for your 10-acre parcel. All I'm going to ask for is a $2,500 down payment from somebody to control that 10-acre parcel. And then I'll just make it a car payment. Let's say $449 a month and 9% interest for the next 84 months. So it's a one-time sale. I get my money out on the down. I might go 6 to 10 months out. And then a car payment, $449 a month, 9% interest for the next 84 months. No renters, no rehabs, no renovations, no rodents. And because I'm not dealing with a tenant, I'm exempt from Dodd-Frank, RESPA, and the SAFE Act, all this owners real estate legislation. So the game that we play is, can we create enough of these land notes where our passive income now exceeds our fixed expenses, and we're working because we want to, not because we have to.
I want to make sure I understand this correctly. So you bought it for $2,500. Now you made somebody do a $2,500 down payment because you sell a finance, let's say for 10 grand.
Correct.
And so they, for 84 months, they're paying 8-9% interest on that mortgage you pretty much put on them.
Correct.
Gotcha. It makes sense. Sounds easy.
Well, it's simple.
It's simple. There you go.
It's not, but nothing worth doing is easy.
Yeah. And then, it's funny you say that too, because I had to make sure I corrected myself on one of my other episodes where I think people get it mixed up between the different in real estate, where it is simple, but when it comes to actually making profit and making passive income, it's definitely not easy. But depending on how somebody explains it, definitely gets people motivated, encouraged, like, oh, I think I could do this. And so what type of tenants does a land have? So if I want to buy the land, what type of, tent would it be? Like a festival or something like a carnival?
As far as like, what can you do on the land?
Yeah. So how can I rent it out if I want to make a profit?
Oh, sure. I mean, you could use something like hip camp. People could camp on it. You could like lease it for hunting.
Okay.
You can do all types of things. You could put, if you want to put a carnival out there, you want to make your own Burning Man. There's, it's literally limited only by your imagination and by planning and zoning. So you have to make sure that what you want to do out there, you can do. And so that's why we look for property that has no restrictions.
Okay. Because I was just about to ask, how can you verify what you can do on that land?
Planning and zoning.
And then also, where is the surveyor involved in this? Because I can imagine when you're trying to purchase the property, you're looking at what what is your borders of how far your land goes.
Well, it's already been platted by a surveyor in the subdivision. So you only get a surveyor involved if you are actually going to subdivide from a larger parcel to a smaller parcel. And then the surveyor will go in and put in the paper easements and where the road should be, then you need to cut it up for a subdivision.
Okay. And why would somebody, let's just say I wanted to get into land, why would I want to do something like that? Is there more money, profit in that, or benefit?
Well, there's a lot more money in it. Absolutely. So you might buy a 640 acre section for, let's say, $100,000, right? Now you subdivide it into, let's say, 1540s and 180, and you sell those 1540s at $1,000 an acre or $500 an acre. So you get more per acre for less acreage, essentially.
I'm trying to understand why does it work out like that?
Well, because more people can afford a 40 acre parcel or a 20 acre parcel or a 10 acre parcel or a 5 acre parcel, then only one person can afford a 640 acre parcel.
Okay.
And you've improved the property. You've put in the easements. You've potentially put in roads. So
Gotcha.
You've made the paper improvement. They didn't have to go through the subdivision process. And now you've improved the highest and best use on that property.
I like this. I like where this is going. And this is definitely a different take on real estate investing that obviously, like we said earlier, a lot of people are not looking at, but there's definitely a lot of money and opportunity in it. And like when the cool thing about land is you could do anything with it. You could, if you wanted to buy it, build a building, a new construction, you could do that as well, which I know is probably so many permits and so many things that, obviously prerequisites to get where you want to be in that situation. But I like this. It's definitely unique, Mark. And thank you for breaking this down too, so that people can kind of chew on it. Because I think when people think of land, they're like, all right, what am I gonna do with it? It's just land. It's just grass. How can I use this? Who would buy it? Where's the market in
Right.
that?
Right. There's a lust for land in this country that you don't even realize. So a lot of military love raw land. People that don't like people love raw land. Preppers love raw land. Somebody who wants to go out there, build a tiny home. There's really, it's insane the amount of people that love raw land. In fact, I've never been stuck with a piece of raw land.
Awesome. And that's the first thing I thought would happen too. Like it'd be hard to get off of your books. I think another thing too that you mentioned about is the fact that you can buy land remotely. You don't have to physically go in a home. It's just you see the land on a computer, and then you go from there.
Right.
So does that make your process a lot faster? Like you just view it online, and then you can move over to the next thing.
Right. I mean, I look at this like a land business.
Mm-hmm.
So we have processes, systems, software, automation. It's 90% automated with software and inexpensive virtual assistants. So we use two inexpensive resources, lgpass.com on the front end that automates the mailings and the offers all the way up to selling the property and doing the contracts. And then the back end is geekpay.io, a set and forget it payment system. So they can make their down payment via credit card, make their monthly payments via ACH. It does all the notifications, it does all the math. And so you're going to really increase your collections that way. So the whole philosophy being, we can always make more money, but we can't get more time. So I'll invest in anything that's going to save me time.
Exactly. And so when it comes to, you mentioned about your marketing strategy, how is your marketing strategy you think would be different as far as trying to get people to, sell their land by somebody trying to get somebody to sell their home? Is it the same language, or are you piquing their interest different?
Selling a home is a very emotional thing, right?
Yeah.
Selling a piece of land, if I made an offer to you for 25 cents on the dollar for everything in your garage, how quickly would you accept that offer?
No, I wouldn't accept it quickly.
For a lot of stuff in your garage you don't want.
Yeah, especially, but you end up being emotionally attached to those things. Oh man, that's my granny's picture. Oh man, I remember that bike. I used to drive it. I used to ride it when I was younger. I keep it there, but then when it's offered to be given away, I'm like, oh no, I don't want to give it away.
Well, that's Anthony. That's a you problem. Most people have stuff in their garage that's just sitting there and they're never using. And it's the same thing with the raw land. It was once an asset, now it's a liability. So very few people are going to look at the raw land as, oh, wow, I've got such great memories of, riding quads on that raw land. Like they didn't do it. They had dreams of doing that and they didn't do it. Now they have recent memories of paying property taxes on it.
Yeah.
So,
you're right.
so it's kind of the same thing. Like anything in your house that you don't use and you don't really want, and that's costing you money to hold, is kind of the same mindset to the seller of a piece of raw land. And the person who's buying the raw land is buying an asset for them, just like that other person bought. And for them, it's limited only by their imagination, nothing to maintain, nothing to protect. And it's the only thing that lasts. It's a legacy investment. Everything else in our lives, Anthony, will eventually go away, except for this one asset, which is raw land.
No, you make a fine
point. It lasts
point.
Forever.
No, yeah, it will. And so I want to talk about your book, Dirt Rich. At what point in your real estate investing career did you write this book? And, can you break down some of the things that it discusses?
Sure. I mean, Dirt Rich is my story. It talks about how I got into it. It breaks down the model in a little bit more detail about what we talked about.
Mhm.
We discussed how I handled the 2010, for me, the 2010 financial crisis.
Oh yeah.
So you don't have to make the same mistakes I did. And it's really just the model. And so if somebody wanted to actually start doing this, it's a step-by-step handbook on how to buy and sell raw land.
And so you're speaking of 2010, it made me think about the 07, 08 housing bubble crash. How did that affect land?
We didn't get really, I was very profitable in 2008, 2009, 2010, 50% of my notes just went away. It was crazy. So 50% of my income disappeared. Now the company was still profitable because we're buying it so low, but I had what they call Parkinson's law of money. So the more money I made, the more money I spent.
Mhm.
And I'd never been through a real estate cycle before. So I had to figure that piece out. And I talk about that in more detail in Dirt Rich. But today I use a system by Mike McAllowitz called Profit First, so that I have better fiscal discipline with managing the cash flow of the land.
This system allows you to do it yourself, or you have a team that kind of manages that for you?
Well, you can do it yourself. I just happen to be using a team.
This is
Just because I do a lot of volume, and
no,
I
of
have
course.
several companies.
No, of course. Actually, we got to make sure a lot of these programs and automations that you've mentioned. We got to make sure we put this in the show notes for people to look them up, because I'm really big on, you could be great as a one-man show or one-woman show, but at a certain point, you have to, in order to scale, you have to delegate responsibilities and start getting a team. And you could be the greatest marketer, greatest seller yourself, but you got to train other people how to do those other different responsibilities. So definitely want people to check that out. Even with land, right? It sounds a lot to me like your style sounds a lot to me, or at least your business structure sounds like some of the wholesalers that I've talked to with their automated systems, as far as finding the deal, well, mail outs, calls, try to get motivated sellers, get the deal, get it for pennies on a dollar, and then turn it around.
Yeah, on the front end, it's like a wholesaler, but on the back end, it's like software as a service, that we just make it a recurring payment each month.
Yes, you're right, because I mentioned earlier about how it's pretty much like you seller finance it. So I like this. I like this, how you have this set up, because let's just say you didn't want to even do the seller financing portion and you just wanted to just flip the land. You could have just did that too, but you've turned
You
it
could
into
do that. A lot of people do it as well, and they make a lot of cash. I personally don't want the cash. I'd rather have the subscription each month,
yeah,
because it's better cash flow. I don't have to keep hustling for the next deal. I'm not so
exactly.
dependent on, now the next deal. So I can cash flow it out. Now, when you first start, and you don't have a lot of cash, you could do a 75-25 split, where you do 75% of your deals cash flips, but you start building slowly your 25% your passive income. But once you get to say 10,000 a month in passive income, a lot of, your money problems are solved at that point.
No, I agree with that. And I think generally 10 grand a month in the United States, you're fine. And obviously, and you're not restrained to doing it where you live. You can do it remotely, like we mentioned earlier as well. So I think,
in fact, you should. I mean, Anthony, let's face it, nobody wakes up and thinks to themselves, boy, I'd like some raw land in Iowa today, unless you live in Iowa, right?
yeah,
So we're focusing on the Sunshine States, Texas, New Mexico, Colorado, Arizona, Nevada, California, Oregon, Washington, Florida. These are fast growing states. There's an abundance of inexpensive raw land.
I don't know if you said it yet, but North and South Dakota comes in my head too, when it comes to a lot of land.
It's pricey though.
Is it?
It's pricey.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Would have never thought that. Because I'm thinking, who lives there?
Well, yeah, because of all the minerals and
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So just learn something new about, because it makes me think about because I think about, when I think about the real estate market, I naturally think about the homes. Okay, who wants to live there? Where are the jobs, right? The population. But when it comes to land, that's obviously not a factor. Jobs being in the area is not a factor, it sounds like, and neither is population.
No, I mean, I think bestplaces.net, it's a great website if you're looking to do multifamily, buy homes, not for raw land. Yeah.
This is awesome. Is there some type of, so we said what website? Because I was going to ask, like,
Bestplaces.net.
bestplaces.net is a good place to,
it'll give you all the stats, like what you just talked about, the median income.
Yeah.
What's the crime rate? Is the population growing? Is it declining? The school system, is it a good place to live or not?
I like this, especially because you don't have to worry about 2 a.m. somebody calling you because the toilet broke. You don't have to essentially really worry about trying to go back and forth with multiple people on their rent being paid. I'm pretty sure maybe did the COVID pandemic impact you largely like it did a lot of the multifamily?
Like our market has gone crazy. So we couldn't keep any land in stock because, think about it, the pandemic hits and suddenly people want a place to bug out to. So they want raw land. And then what's a traditional inflation hedge? Land.
Yeah.
Gold, silver, Bitcoin. So we can't keep any land. Like, it's just, as soon as we buy it, it sells. It's crazy.
Yeah, I need this to be on YouTube more. I need to hear more information like this on, like, the podcast that you have, as well as about Land Geek, which I like that. I like that term, by the way. I think I can see why you have so many listeners on your podcast, because you're a very unique niche, and I love your content, by the way. On your podcast, it's refreshing and a different perspective. I always appreciate different perspectives from people that have a passion in what they do and very intelligent. So thank you for that. What I always like to ask everybody, what is your rich state of mind? What is your big why as to why you have such a passion for this niche, and on a day-to-day, why do you do what you do?
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing sort of more gratifying, I think, in life than somebody calling you or texting you or emailing you and say, Mark, you changed my life. I'm able to spend more time with my family. I'm able to travel the world. I was able to quit a miserable job because of this model. So my mission, my big why, just like the beginning of the podcast, is to help everyone get out of solo economic dependency so they can work when they want, where they want, with whom they want, have total freedom, and then discover for themselves what their big why is, what their purpose is, move up Maslow's hierarchy of needs into self-actualization. And I think most people are just too tired if they're working the grind, because it's not 9 to 5, right? Well, maybe it is now, but back in the day when you had to commute, it wasn't just 9 to 5. Today, it might be solidly 9 to 5, but you probably, most people are probably not thrilled about the prospect of making somebody else rich. They're not thrilled about not having total control over their lives. They're not thrilled about when they get sick, having to call HR and telling another human being, I'm sick. Like, it's just nice to just lay in bed and not have to report to anyone. Right. So this is, one of those vehicles to allow people to have that freedom and, eliminate that big bucket of stress in most people's lives that we call money.
And money is, I know people will say, money isn't everything, but I will say that it is as important as it is air. We need it to live, at least in this society, in America. And we are doing ourselves a disservice if we don't try our best to master it, so that we're not wasting our time or using up a lot of our time and taking time away from our family just to chase it or just to sustain life. And that's what I believe our life should be like. Obviously, everybody's not going to grasp onto that, but my sentiments are the same as far as I don't want to live just to pay anybody, a debtor, or just to live basically. I want to actually enjoy life and not to wait till I'm 65 to say, well, thank God I worked for my 40 years. Now let me go out and enjoy life. And hopefully at the age of 65, I can still run and hike and rock climb. But I would like to do that when I'm 30 as well.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think that's the sort of the secret of what we all want. I mean, I agree, money solves money problems, but there's a lot of money problems to be solved.
Yeah.
So, to say, oh, money is not important is to sort of not live in reality. It's sort of like saying love's not important. Well, love is important. We want all these things in our lives. And to your point, the typical life cycle is when you're young, you have time and health, but you have no money. You get to middle age, like me, you got money, you got health, you ain't got no time. And then you get to be my parents' age, they've got time, they got money, they have no health. So if we can compress it and have that trifecta, then that's really the goal in life.
Awesome, man. And I definitely agree with that. And I really hope if anybody didn't get anything out of this podcast episode, at least get trying to achieve that trifecta in some way. It doesn't have to be my way, it doesn't have to be Mark's way, but whatever best fits you and your family's needs and wants to a certain extent. Find that way, and then investing in land is just another way that you can do so. So I definitely encourage anybody to check out Mark on social media and check out that book and course that he has. Mark, where can people find you at?
The best place is the landgeek.com for people that want to go deeper into the model and dip their toe in. We have a course that teaches them how to double their money, 30 days or less. They can get that for free. The landgeek.com/quick deals.
Awesome. Especially you talking about doubling your money in 30 days. How can you beat that?
I don't know.
Thanks, Mark. I really appreciate your time. This has been awesome, like refreshing. My brain has been churning. That's why sometimes I was like lost for words, because I'm thinking selfishly like, hey, how can I do this? Because what Mark is saying is new to me. And I'm always looking for a different way to learn how to make passive income and then try to teach it to others. So thank you for teaching me as well on this episode.
No, my pleasure. Thanks, Anthony.
Thank you for sticking with us from the start of the episode. Please share our show with friends and family, visit our YouTube channel, and view more of our content on richstateofmind.com. See you next week on the Rich State of Mind Show.